Hello and welcome to Mitch Madness. This is episode 4 of the Barndominium series. When I went to the property for the first time after the closing, there was someone still living in the house. It looks like it's going to be November 17th before the law can come and drag his ass out, and the closing date was extended again and again from the original date of September 4th because of this problem. So, before I can get into the house, it's going to be a total of 10 weeks from the original closing date and 8 weeks from the date that I transferred the funds to buy the place. But adapt and overcome, I always say. While this is a tremendous inconvenience and expense for me, there is certainly enough work for me to do on the property while waiting to take my frustration out on the walls of the house with a wide variety of demolition tools. This episode is going to cover the first 7 days of the project. Apparently, the only thing that this family ever discarded properly was household garbage. Instead, they used this beautiful property as their personal landfill for decades. Each of the 5 outdoor structures were full of stuff. When they ran out of room in the buildings, they just threw everything on the ground. Day 1. The campground. I started working in the northeast corner of the property, which I named the campground. I don't have a before picture of this, but in this area, in addition to the usual litter and glass bottles, there were 2 tent platforms, 2x4 frames with plywood floors covered with carpeting. Doesn't sound too bad, except that these were probably 30 years old, so all of it was wet, rotted, dirty, insect infested, and stuck in the ground. All of it had to be pried from the ground in pieces and winged into the dumpster. This was dumpster number 1, a 15-yard. Much to my surprise, my tenant actually filled most of this dumpster up himself before I got there with junk from somewhere else on the property. The next project was the great carpeting extrication. So I'm walking around in the area and the ground feels weird. What do you know? There's carpeting under an inch of dirt and grass. This had to be pried up with a shovel a little bit at a time and was a lot of heavy, dirty work. Day 2. The trailer. Since I have no house, I have no place to store my tools, so it was necessary to commandeer this trailer to use as a storage shed. There was already a great deal of junk on the ground near this trailer, but I had to add to the pile by emptying out this trailer. Since apparently the tenant had already snagged the air compressor, the only things worth saving were a small pile of stuff that I can give away and a box full of Playboy magazines from the early 80s. I also met my first new friend on the property.
What are you doing? Oh, good boy or girl. Yeah.
Day 3. The crack house. This shed is the only outbuilding that is usable. Apparently, the guy used to live in it, and his life plan is to have it moved somewhere and live in it again. He doesn't seem to fully understand that everything on the property belongs to me now. However, if it will keep him from living on the street, I'll give him 3 months after the sheriffs kick him out of my house to have it removed. After that, it's mine. This project was to remove the lovely veranda. It doesn't look like much, but this thing was assembled with a ton of nails, so dismantling it was tedious. I met a farmer dude who's going to come and get whatever nice old lumber and roof panels that can be salvaged. Since the eviction from the previous owner is now invalid, I posted the new one, and this is the start of dumpster number 2. Day 4. The trailer mess and the orchard. I call this area the orchard because it looks like there are long neglected fruit trees of some kind on it. There wasn't a ton of stuff in the orchard, but even just removing that old chair made it look great. But I did find some more carpeting buried in the shrubs along the property line. We started dumpstering the crap that was in the trailer and on the ground. This looked like it would take maybe 3 or 4 hours to handle, but ended up having to go into day 5. These were dense piles of stuff that had been on the ground for many years, and it all had to be scooped up by hand, or in some cases, a shovel needed to be used. It's still burning season here, and being able to burn stuff outside is a huge help. I've had a constant big fire going most of the time I've been here so far. Day 5. Another crummy start of the day with scooping up the rest of the stuff from the trailer area. Then I moved on to trimming the grass and weeds. This is a commercial string trimmer and ended up being a necessity. We started assembling a pile of keepable stuff, which there is very little of. We completed filling dumpster number 2, then we moved on to the old chicken coop. I started with trimming the grass and the brush around it. By the way, it seems that whenever I trim like this, I'm going to find surprises buried in the grass. What do you know, a boom box from 1985, stuff like that. To finish the day, I extricated everything from inside the coop. Again, all junk, trash, tires, plastic bottles, nothing savable. Day 6. For day 6, we left the chicken coop alone for now and instead moved on to another collapsed shed near the trailer and adjacent to the big shed, which you haven't seen yet. The first thing I did was recruited the van to pull it down, and it worked beautifully. I did this again on the backside. Then there was dismantling whatever lumber was left, as well as the metal roofing. Not surprisingly, this thing was full of junk also, only this was worse than the trailer area. This stuff was just melted into the ground and stuck together. Most of it had to be raked or shoveled to loosen it enough to be able to pick it up. This was a whole long day and was very tiring. The only thing good in that mess was a cool old sewing machine. The machine was beyond repair, however the cast iron base is going to make a great table one day after it is sandblasted and painted in the new shop. I met some more new friends from next door, and a sheriff's deputy came by to serve the eviction notice. The guy didn't answer the door. Day 7. Day 7 was chicken coop day. I started by hauling off all of the stuff that I previously removed from it and winged it all into the dumpster. This exhausted dumpster number 3. Then I did a lot of brush and weed trimming around the perimeter. Compared to all the scooping up of garbage that we did for the last several days, this was a fun day. The only tools were a maul, a pry bar, and the chainsaw. The wood on this thing was really old and rotted, so it all came apart quite easily. After removing all of the siding, I made some strategic cuts in the uprights and was able to just give it a good shove to make it come tumbling down, complete with a literal cloud of dust. It was epic, and I wish I could have gotten it on video. I originally planned on keeping this structure on the property since it did have a cool country look to it. However, since I have resources like the burn pile and an endless stream of dumpsters, I figured it would be better to remove it now in case I change my mind later. Plus, if I build the barn dough in a possible alternate location from where the house is, the chicken coop would have been in an undesirable location, so it had to go. Okay folks, that's it for this episode. Please remember to like and subscribe for a lot more cool content on this Barndominium build. Thanks for watching.